With the government reshuffle in progress, Labour looks to the upcoming leadership contest. Jeremy Corbyn has announced he'll step down. Now it remains to be seen who will replace him. Joining us now to discuss it is Labour MP Stephen Kinnock. Hello to you.
Hello, good morning.
Nice to see you. First of all, how did you lose so badly?
Well, I will never forget that feeling on when the exit poll dropped. I mean, we're all heartbroken and shell-shocked. I think there's three main reasons. Firstly, weak and incompetent leadership. Secondly, the decision to back a second referendum, which massively alienated voters in our leave voting heartlands. And thirdly, a manifesto which was more like a Christmas wish list, frankly. And I think when you put all those three things together, and they're all linked to each other, you can see why the British electorate didn't just support us. Sections of them were repelled by what we were putting forward.
Why didn't people like you speak up beforehand?
We tried back in 2016 to make our views clear on the fact that Jeremy Corbyn and Corbynism were not the right way forward for our party. That didn't work. He was re-elected. No one person is bigger than the Labour Party or the Labour movement. The Labour movement is the greatest force for good in the history of British politics. And sometimes you have to present a united front because we know that the country desperately needs the investment-driven growth policies that Labour offers. We presented that united front, but this was Jeremy Corbyn's and John McDonnell's manifesto, NEC, communications plan. The whole campaign was run completely by them. They were front and centre of everything in this campaign, so they own it. They have to take responsibility for it. Corbyn and Corbynism is now finished. The British public has made that clear.
Not necessarily. I mean, yes, he can go, yes, McDonnell will go, but then if you have somebody like, I don't know, Rebecca Long-Bailey or Angela Rayner continuing on, then Corbynism is on it through them.
One more heave will not work. We need a complete break from the disaster of the last 4 years. We need to turn over the page. We need a process of truth and reconciliation, but you can't have reconciliation until you have the truth. So we need people to speak up honestly. We need that robust debate in the party. I don't think that's a blame game. That is a process of getting to a consensus and unity. And we need a Labour Party leader who actually can answer the questions that the British public have posed to us in this election.
You say it's gone, but I mean, I'm just looking at the odds. Angela Rayner is 7-1 and Rebecca Long-Bailey is 5-2. I mean, she's the favourite to take over.
Yeah, I think that we need a candidate for the leadership who is a clean break, who turns the page. I think candidates like Lisa Nandy and Jess Phillips represent the right way forward for our party because they get it. They understand what the message was from our working class heartlands in this election. We've got to reconnect with that. We've got to rebuild the red wall. And one more heave on the Corbyn project is certainly not going to rebuild the red wall.
So what are you going to do to try to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, I will be putting forward my view that in order to reconnect with those voters, we first of all have to acknowledge the catastrophic error of backing a second referendum. Then we need to talk much more about security. National security, we are the party of NATO. Economic security, we need to have a proper economic and financial prudence, but combined with radical investment growth-driven policies. And then it's about decentralising, really empowering local communities, because I think there's large parts of England in particular who feel that they've been completely left behind by Westminster. And I'll be looking to support the candidate for the leadership that has those messages front and centre of her, and I hope it will be a her campaign.
You don't fancy it?
I have no plans to stand. I really do think it's time for Labour to elect a woman as leader, and I'm really looking to at that woman to have those messages around security, economic, national and community security, empowering our local communities that I think can take the Labour Party forward.
Deputy leader?
I think because...
Oh, that wasn't a no, was it? That wasn't a no.
No, because if we have a leader that has those clear messages... Labour is a coalition of cities and towns, young and old, graduates and non-graduates. We need a leader who recognises what the questions are that this election poses for us, and that priority has to be to reconnect with those people who live in towns who are not graduates.
No, but that leader needs a deputy leader.
Sort of cosmopolitan view of the world, and that the deputy leader should therefore be somebody who does bring in that more, if you like, city-based graduate London place in our party, which is a vitally part of the coalition. So I think a balanced ticket is required, a balanced ticket which has a leader who's really putting forward those messages, answering those questions, and a deputy leader who makes clear that we're still in touch with all parts of this country. If you like, think about the Blair-Prescott ticket. I mean, I think what that Tony Blair, John Prescott ticket gave the party was a whole nation Labour. We, for far too long in the Labour Party, have been drifting towards cities and graduates, becoming a party of the middle class, not the working class. And how can it be that the Conservative Party, led by Boris Johnson, has become the party of the working class? It is utterly ridiculous. The Labour Party needs to get those voters back. And what's clear is that those voters have only lent their vote to the Tories. We can win them back if we have the if
Rebecca Long-Bailey or Angela Rayner, that means that you're out of office for 10 years?
One more heave will not do it. The Corbyn and the Corbyn project is finished. We need to turn the page and move forward. We need the right leader to do that. So if it is one of those two ladies, even though you say you would like a woman in charge, if it's one of those two ladies, then you're out for a decade or more. I haven't heard precisely what Rebecca and Angela have got to say. The fact of the matter is they have been in the shadow cabinet for the last years, and so they are part, I think, of having propped up what we've seen. But if Angela and Rebecca and others are clear about the need to have much more economic, national and community-based security in what we're saying to the country, then of course I'm ready to listen to that. I don't think this is about dismissing one candidate or the other, but the reality is that if we're going to have a clean break from the past, I think we also need a candidate who recognises that backing a second referendum was a very bad idea and alienated millions of our Leave voters.
Stephen Kinnock, it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you. Well, listening.